all doing good. We got YouTube going on here. We've got our community Zoom going on here, and we have a full house. This is awesome. This is awesome. Okay, here we go. All right, got everybody coming in. It is a beautiful morning. Fall is in the air. Long sleeves, and I'm outside. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We got Mr. Ken in the house. We've got Miss Vicky. We've got Miss Deb. We've got Miss Laura. I love you all. Welcome. Those of you that are joining on YouTube, welcome. I am going to just take a deep breath. I'm going to pause, and I'm going to pray because we are packing today. We are traveling tomorrow, and I'm a little all over the place, but Papa is also implanting a lot of things through me right now to share today. So I want to just lift us all in prayer. Am I frozen? I don't know. Am I frozen? Okay, I'm back again. Okay, well, the enemy is going to fight me today because I've got some heavy-duty stuff to talk about today. So he's going to fight, so that's part of the prayer too. Welcome those on YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to pray. And Ken, my heart is going out to you. I'm sad for you, but I'm also celebrating greatly that Miss Kathy is holding hands with Papa in heaven. His will be done. And she's where she needs to be. She's no longer in pain. So praise God for that. And huge praises because Mr. Ken's cancer is this close to being gone. And it's going to be gone. Next time it's going to be totally gone. This is Papa just showing progression. Papa just showing he's on the throne. So we've got good stuff. So we are praising through the good. We are praising through the bad. And that's what we are called to do. So let me just start us in prayer today. Papa, I just thank you that you are on the throne, that we can come directly to your feet, that we can come to you with the good, the bad, the ugly, and just totally where we're at, whether we are frazzled, whether we are happy, regardless what state we're in, regardless what is going on, we have an open doorway and an open path to your feet. And I just pray that everybody present, everybody in our community understands that. I pray that they go to you regularly. David challenged our community yesterday to fast and pray today, and I think that that is a tremendous challenge. I think it is fabulous, and I think that that is where we should be focusing our energies all the time. First and foremost is on Papa. So Papa, we just lift up Ken to you this morning, and we praise you for the healing you are doing in his body, and we are already planting our feet and our total faith in you and trusting you to totally remove that cancer. There is just no question. You are the miracle worker. You are the ultimate healer, and we praise you for that. We also praise you for taking Kathy home. Some people may find that odd, but it was your will. She served her purpose here on this planet, and she left her mark in such a tremendous way with her extreme faith and her love for you. And although it's hard for the rest of us left on the earth, I know heaven is rejoicing. They've gotten an amazing individual, an angel, and I know you're holding her hand, and I know you guys are just celebrating today. So we praise you for that. She's just such a tremendous person, and we celebrate Kathy today. I lift up everyone else here this morning and all those watching the replay, and I just pray that you wrap your loving arms around them, nurture them, guide them, direct them, give them wisdom, knowledge, direction, and discernment in all things. Fill them up, give them peace like they've never felt before. Let them feel the love that they are to feel. You know, we don't have to wait till we're in heaven to feel your love. It's here. We just need to accept it and pull into it. Forgive others, forgive ourselves, and just love out of a place of just amazingness. We need to learn to love out of a place the same that you love us, and it is possible. So I just pray that you instill that in everyone, and just provide for everyone's needs. Protect us all. The enemy is here to steal, kill, and destroy, and he's working really hard, but we have to remember the power we have in him. Papa, I just ask that you fill me up, all of you, none of me. Calm my spinning mind and just guide my lips. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for all you do Thank you for dying on the cross for us, and thank you for what you have ahead for all of us. The purpose you have for us, the plan you have for us is so amazing, and I just pray that everybody steps into that, opens their eyes, their ears, and feels your pulling, feels your direction. We love you and ask all this in your holy and precious name of Jesus. Amen. Oh my goodness. Okay, Miss Vicky says, praise God, Ken, for your progress and lifting you up in prayer. Awesome. Oh, it's so good to see everybody smiling and present faces. I'm so thankful. So a couple things have crossed my path and have been stirring around in there the last couple days. My husband was listening to something, and it said, the SOS, and save our souls, and certainly that triggered something. And my question to you all today is this: when you're putting out your SOS and you're calling him to save your soul, are you all in? Are you putting yourself at his feet when you need him? And are you doing it when you don't need him? That is the bigger question. Because in order to save our souls, we need a complete, imagine plugging your phone into the wall. This is a bad analogy considering where I'm going next. But imagine plugging your phone into the wall and you have that direct connection to the power source. It's not, if you just do it willy-nilly, you're going to be walking around with a dead phone, right? Same applies to us. If we are not connected, we are walking around dead and confused and open to the enemy's hand. So I got to come up with a better analogy, because when I go next to the next subject, you'll totally understand why. But we need him. We need him all the time. And, so often we only go to him when everything is just totally upside down. One of the things I've been teaching for years at a level, but now even deeper, is that we need that constant connection. In order for us to be healthy at any level, mentally, emotionally, or physically, it all starts with spiritually. You guys have been hearing me talk about that for the last several weeks, even longer, but I'm really honing in on that and I'm going to continue to pound that in, because that is where it's at. And many of you are seeing the results of your steadfastness in him, because when you are solid with him and you have that direct connection, mentally, emotionally, and physically follow suit. And I know Vicky is seeing it in just what is happening as she is learning to de-stress her body, learning to keep herself in a good headspace, learning to move, learning to just be in a it all starts here. It all starts here and here. And when we get that flowing, and Ken is seeing that because his direct connection is solid and his trust is in Papa, and he's been planting his feet in his deep faith that God is going to remove his cancer, and God is removing his cancer. We have so much power. Yes, exactly, Vicky. We have so much power over the enemy. Over our minds, over our bodies, even over how we live our lives on this planet. As you've heard me say before, so often we follow what is dictated to us, what we feel is an obligation of us because that's what everybody else has done before us, but that's not how we need to roll. We have the ability to create heaven on earth here. And that starts with the connection with Papa. Miss Kathy, Ken's praising. Miss Kathy had that. Miss Kathy had that steadfast connection with Papa, and she lived out heaven on earth, and everybody around her felt that. And, as we learn, because this is all learned, as I said, we are brought up all in different arenas, all from different walks of life. But regardless what we walk through, we can overcome it. It all starts with Papa. It all starts with surrounding yourself with the right people And I want to just give a huge praise to my community, because I had someone the other day come to me. They were concerned that in our community it would be just like all the others, where you say something and all of a sudden you're swarmed by negativity and keyboard cowboys and ignorance. And she was surrounded by love. She got something she was totally not expecting. And that made me praise tremendously, because we, my husband and I pray for it. I know many of you pray for it, for the people that are coming into our community. Our community is very different, and I want it to be different. I want it to stand out. I want it to be a safe haven. I want it to be where we can talk about the things that are controversial, but in a loving way. I want to be able to sit here with my tinfoil hat on and have you listen open-mindedly and understand that maybe some of what you're hearing in the other places where the keyboard cowboys and the ignorance is flowing may actually be true. But you can't even get to that level because of all the nonsense. I want us to have a steadfast place where we can come together, lock arms, love one another, surround one another, support one another, empower one another, and be able to grow, because that's it, And I will always say this: I am nothing special. I have been grown and shaped and molded, and I am trusting Papa. Ken's shaking his head. You're gonna stop that. If I shine to you, it's because I'm full of Him. Okay, that's the best way to put it, because I'm no different than the rest of you. I'm a sinner. I'm a crackpot. Light shining through a lot of cracks, but it's Papa's light that's shining through. While I've been away from my homestead, I have been broken to a deep level. Papa broke me to show me how to completely 100% overcome the things that I thought I had overcome. Why did He do that? So I can share that with you. That's for another day. But I want you to know that I am open to His molding hand. I am open to someone in my community making a suggestion to make something better. We have to be open-minded, and we have to be willing to receive, whether that is from Papa, whether that is from valid sources that are sharing information of things that you need to be concerned about. So before I go into my next subject, I just want to share how Papa has been sharing with me through the Word. The Word is one of our most powerful sources. If you're not reading the Bible, I want to encourage you to do that. Our spiritual health is very, very important. And although the Bible is very historic, it is a great piece of history. It is one of those books that everybody should have, not on their shelf collecting dust. And if you have a King James version and it blows your head off with the these and the thous and all those other words that were spoken in the time, and you can't wrap your head around it, get another version. If you don't have money to get a version, get the free Bible app on your phone or on your computer, because you can access any version on there. You can also compare versions. You can do all kinds of stuff on the Bible app. I highly recommend it. I've been using it for years. I had my mountain boy go through and pull all of my favorite Bible verses from my highlights, and he never finished, and he's over 4,000. So, and I think I've been on it since 2012, I think. But the Word will never grow old. But if you don't understand it, that's something to think about. There's two things you can do: get another version, or pray before you dive in and ask Papa to help you to understand it. If that still doesn't help, and it will at a time, all things in His timing, understand that. I like the NLT version. I like the HCSB version. I like ESV. There are some versions, do a little research, because there are some versions that remove Bible verses and chapters, and I don't like that at all. So be aware of that and do a little research. The message is good, but it's like, understand that when you read the message, it's like talking to your buddy and like, hey dude, did you know? It's like, that's how it's written. But it's so people understand it, so people can enjoy the read. It's meant to be read, the Bible's meant to be read like a regular book. A lot of people get lost in the genealogies. I used to tremendously. I'd like start reading and then it's like, blah, 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 and, you know, you try to find the end. I now read it because now I'm starting to connect the dots because I'm reading through the Bible so much that I'm beginning to be able to connect the dots with these people to these things. Even if they're mentioned once, they're mentioned. There's a reason they're mentioned. So anyway, read the Bible. It's really, really powerful. You know, we need to understand that we have power over our bodies, our minds, our spirits, our families. We are given the power to rebuke the enemy. You know, if all of a sudden in your home you're joyous and all of a sudden there's turmoil and it came out of nowhere, that's usually a pretty good indicator that the enemy is trying to stir the pot. As soon as that happens now, like before, I used to be like, what in the world, you know? You try hard to remedy it, you try hard to fix it, you try hard to redirect the ship. However, you know, until we acknowledge that there is spiritual warfare, and I want that to be something you guys are aware of, there is spiritual warfare in this world today. It is here to kill, steal, and destroy. We're seeing that in the family dynamics. They're trying to break up the families. They're trying to fill our children's mind with a lot of wrong things, getting them to think they need to be different sexes, so many different things. I mean, when we look around, we can see the enemy's hand if our eyes are open and our ears are open. So, you know, we need to pause when those things happen, when we see destruction happening, if you have a connection with a friend and all of a sudden something was spoken and it was misunderstood, remedy it. Demand the enemy to leave, humble yourself, apologize, explain how you meant it, try to fix it. And if it's, you know, and that's the best you can do. And if they don't accept it, then, you know, you did your part. With your family, when all of a sudden everything's upside down, pause. I stand in the middle of my kitchen, my whole house is one room, but wherever I am, if we're outside cutting firewood and something starts to happen, it's like I just pause, I throw my hands up in the air, and I'm like, get the heck out of here. You do not belong here. Leave, go back where you came from, and we go back to doing what we're doing, and it's like nothing ever happened. It's a very clear thing when you get connected with it and start seeing that. So I want to hone you in on that. I want you to be honed in on the attacks of the enemy. He also will do it with you. He will pull you back into past events. He will remind you constantly that you have no worth, that you aren't needed, that you aren't loved. Whatever those things are, you know them. He knows them too, and he's gonna have a field day. Upcoming, I'm gonna be teaching you how to disengage from that. But hone in, and when you have those moments of negativity spewing in your head, write it out on paper, rip it up, and throw it away. And demand the enemy to leave, and pull into Papa. Read your Bible. I know that as an integrative health practitioner, I am sharing things that are totally not in line with, let's say, 90% of the other integrative health practitioners. But I know from firsthand experience, this is the foundation. He is our rock. He is the cornerstone. So we need to start there. And if we want to be of good health, we need to start there. We need to be addressing things in that fashion. And this is what it's like. You just start going to his feet and you sit and you talk to him. As I've shared many times, my dog and my family don't know whether I'm talking to them or if I'm talking to God, because sometimes it comes out of my mouth. It's not just internal, it's coming out. I'm just full day conversation, you know. We have that ability. You don't have to worry about how you pray and where you pray, and you don't have to be in church. You just talk to him. If you're waiting to have that conversation for things to be perfect, it's no different than embracing your dreams and waiting for things to be perfect. You'll never do it. Just do it. Just talk to him. He's open. His ears are waiting. Miss Laura says, I used to check all local thrift stores for Bibles. I love finds, those with notes from others, hearts in the columns, and open areas. Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. I didn't think about that. There are tons of them at the thrift stores, and they're very inexpensive. I've seen them there. I have my PAPS Bible, so I have the best part of that, in that the notes that are in there are like love letters to my heart, because it was my grandfather that wrote them in there. So I'm super excited about that. I wanted to share something else. It left me. Oh, I know what it was. Okay, so the shirt I'm wearing I found for $4.95 at the thrift store locally here, and it says, breathe deep, love more, shine bright, stay true, be you. Was that not sitting there waiting for me? I love that. I love that. And the front says stay true. So the other stuff is on the back. But Papa's been really guiding me in that, you know, we don't think we have the power. There are churches that are speaking in the regard that there isn't spiritual warfare on the earth today. There aren't miracles on the earth today. I mean, right there's Ken sitting, miracle from 10 to 1.3. And you know what? Kathy is a miracle too. You know, people will view that as a negative. Well, God took her, and why did he take her? But she had a purpose here, and she left a legacy of faith-led individuals. She touched a ton of lives. There was great purpose. I guarantee you she will live on forever here, just in what she did and who she spoke to and the things that she lived out, you know. So these are all miracles, and we need to understand that this stuff is happening. So with the spiritual warfare aspect of things, we need to understand that it was used in a fashion in the Bible for those times. We are seeing the enemy working in very different fashions in our times. He still affected health back in the day. He still rattled people's minds. But they didn't have cell phones. Yes, I am saying that cell phones are the devil. I really am. I have one in my hand. I have an iPad on my lap. I have one behind my screen. I'm sitting in front of a laptop. But you know what? We've made a big decision in our household that at a certain time of day, Wi-Fi goes off and all machines go down, because that is going to be my next subject. I'm sure you figured that out already. But I want to tell you that you need to have deep faith and trust when you are demanding the enemy to leave. When your body suddenly starts to feel poorly, and like I've always said, I don't like giving the enemy more credit than due. But when I don't feel well, I instantly demand the enemy to leave my body. And if you listen to my YouTube last week, I start my day that way. That way, I don't have to worry about it. I demand the enemy to leave myself, my family, my home, our things, everything, our property, and not to return. I start my day that way, and I ask God to fill me up. That way, I don't have to worry about, you know, dancing around the enemy all day. He's gone. He has to listen because I told him to go, and we have that power. You have that power, so remember that. But when I don't feel well, and I get a headache, I don't normally get headaches. If I suddenly get a headache or head pain, I'm like, you know what? Get out of my head. And amazingly enough, much of the time, I feel better. So, and like I said, I don't want to give him more credit than due, but I know where to start. And I start working through. So, the key thing is, though, we can't be wavering. We need to be steadfast in our faith when we demand the enemy to leave. And that is important. We need to be steadfast in our faith when we trust him to provide, when we trust him to sell our property, when we trust him to get us to Alaska in whatever fashion he sees fit in his perfect timing. And learn to be okay with the timing of things. You know, that trust in ourselves to have the ability to demand the enemy away also needs to be that same trust and faith in God that he can move mountains for us, that he can work miracles, because it all starts there. And that was some of the things, you know, you received God's spirit when he adopted you as his own children. We have that spirit, you know. It says you have not received a spirit that makes you fearful slaves. That's really important to remember, because when I share the things I'm going to next, it's not fear-mongering. It's just education. And we should all be strong in heart. We should all be strong in faith. The more we pull into Papa, the deeper that gets. Our faith and our strength all gets stronger. Our encounters, the things we walk through, our perspective, being able to control our minds when old stuff starts replaying. Learning how to do all those things through Him enables us to continue to become stronger. My healing journey, I'm not saying this in a prideful way. I am truly saying this in a humble way, made me a warrior. I didn't used to speak about God at all. I was afraid I would offend somebody, but what I learned in my healing journey has to be spoken, because, I wanted to hear a still small voice my whole life, and I didn't know how. In my healing journey, I figured that out. You guys all know that are joining me, but for those that aren't, it's just a matter of pulling in and deepening that relationship constantly. But what we walk through, what we experience, learning even how to profoundly understand death. Ken will tell you he had some of those aha moments through this journey, and it was through Kathy that helped him to see that. That death really is a celebration. So often everybody, it's called mourning because of course you are missing them. But when you learn how to celebrate it also, because, in a fun way, I'm jealous of her because I want to hold his hand too. So, that's coming. My time will come. And, but it all needs to start with Him, and we need to enjoy this journey. Here's just an example. This is a little silly, but, we like to watch. We don't have TV. We haven't had TV for like 17 years, but we enjoy watching these shows about the wilderness and Mountain Men and Alone. And we were watching the one Alone last night, and it really stood out to both of us. This one guy was on there, and he was it was drudgery. It was drudgery watching him, and it was drudgery for him because in his mind, he had it all planned out how he wanted it to go. And of course, expectation causes disappointment. So get rid of expectation because it's so much more fun living on the wild side, I promise. But the other thing is, there he sat in an opportunity of a lifetime to be able to experience things. I watch that show and I think, gosh, how amazing to be in that place where you can just be that alone with God. There's no outside noise. There's no phones blinging. Just talk about personal growth. And he missed it all because of his expectations and of his mindset. He missed it all. And it was terrible to watch him because we actually started fast forwarding through his segments because it was so negative. We have that ability in every aspect of our lives. So if you catch yourself in that drudgery and you're not enjoying life, maybe you need to ponder that question and ask why. Why am I not enjoying life? Do I have expectation? Am I expecting God's timing to be faster? Am I not resting in it? Am I pulling into the world too much? Is this machine messing with my head? So, there's lots of tidbits to take away from today. But I want to, let me just see. I had other Bible verses. I've been being deeply planted. I just feel like He's implanting. So Psalms 105 is what I'm going to go to real quick here. I'll read a couple things and then I'm going to go into my thing. So this really made me think of Kathy a bit this morning. Sing to Him, yes, sing His praises. Tell everybody about His wonderful deeds. Exalt in His holy name. Rejoice, you who worship the Lord. Search for the Lord and for His strength. Continually seek Him. We have, like I said, we have that ability. We need to be seeking Him. And as I always say, He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. The Lord spread a cloud above them as a covering and gave them a great fire to light the darkness. And, he nurtures us and loves us so much. You know, he knows our needs. He knows, pay attention. I mean, he nurtures my needs all the time, all the time. Ken says, I love the idea of the fast forwarding through negative. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. And it's so funny because the Mountain Man and I are so in tune with that so much. And you know, you will become contagious in your family because they're going to see you and your friends, see you growing, see you being able to do these things and be on fire and be happy in moments where everybody else in the rest of the world is sad and disappointed and unhappy. When we learn how, I shared last week how to find your joy, you know, and if you missed that, go to my YouTube channel. I did a short video on it. How to find your peace is by simply staying in joy. Jesus, ourselves, and you all. We got to put ourselves next to keep ourselves healthy. But we have so much power, guys, in you know, staying connected with God. And his word, the more we read it, the more nuggets you take away from it. And one of the coolest things Laura said about finding a Bible in the thrift store, I bought myself the Inspire Bible, the NLT version, when I was sick, and because I was flat on my back and I wanted to read through the Bible. I felt the deep need to pull into him. And now I'm nurturing myself from my own messages. Talk about powerful. Talk about seeing your growth. That's awesome. And I have always said I hated defacing the Bible. I never wrote in a Bible ever until then. And then I was coloring in it. I was writing in it. I was highlighting in it. And now I'm watercoloring in it. Soon you guys will see in the community a video tutorial on how to watercolor in your Bible. It's very cool. I got to do that in the upcoming journaling conference, and it nurtured me greatly. So pull into Papa. And I'm gonna talk about these things. How many of you are having struggles sleeping, staying asleep, getting to sleep, waking up between 2 and 4 a.m., not being able to go back to sleep? Anybody else? I have been. I do have difficulties with my body shutting down sometimes when I'm over toxified, and I've been a lot toxified lately. But there's more to it than that. There is a lot happening, not just with our phones, but also with the towers. During the crud, they were putting up 5G all over the place, and there were people that were monitoring that, and I saw that back during that period where people were monitoring the waves that are coming off of those 5G towers. And one of the excuses that was put out there during the time frame was that the regulators that are used, and that may be the wrong term, but whatever the device is that's put on the tower to regulate how much it's putting out, were not available during the crud, amazingly. But they still continued to put the towers up, which meant they were blasting full force. And they are known to create cancer. They are known to cause all kinds of autoimmune and deep body issues, a lot of mental issues. And as you all know, if we are not sleeping well, our bodies can't heal. Our bodies can't go through the restorative healing every night that it needs to. So what happens when you are in a prolonged period of that and it becomes chronic? We all know that, right? We have all the different diseases popping up and our bodies being plagued and unable to do the things we once did. Major brain fog, major weight gain, you name it. It's all going to start stemming from our lack of sleep, because sleep is our most important thing. Something else to keep in mind is that when these bad boys are plugged in, how many of you have them next to your bed plugged in at night? I do, even on occasion. And they are blasting like 10 times what they normally do throughout the day. When they're plugged in, they're blasting about 10 times more juice than they would be when they're not plugged in. And everything is amped up. And right now, they are sending frequencies through the towers, which are, of course, you go in the city. I am that canary in the coal mine. If I eat something bad, I know it. If there's a lot of EMFs, I know it. And going into town, it's when I'm on my homestead and I've been there for 2 weeks and I go up into the next closest big town and I'm coming down over the hill, it's like hitting a wall. I feel that. Where many of you are living in the cities, in town, your homes are powered. So I pray that you all take this, not with a grain of salt, but that you take it solidly and start making adjustments to what you are doing with your devices. If they're plugged in at night, have them in another room, on another floor. I realize that some of you need to be aware if, maybe a family member is needing your help, that you're not all living in the same house. Maybe some are away at school, or your mother's in a different town, or your children are in a different state. Whatever the case may be, because I have that too, but having our phones elsewhere and away from us will help us sleep. We need to focus on our sleep. And our Wi-Fi throws out a lot of frequencies as well. A lot of the Wi-Fi that is available now is 5G Wi-Fi, and it is throwing off a lot of signals and that in your home. You can get different sleeves for the phones. I have those. The safe sleeve should be on my resource page. I will double check that when I'm done here. Putting your phone against your head is like the worst thing you can do. Putting the Bluetooth buds in your ears is the worst thing you can do. Even the ones that plug in that come with the phones, you can get some that are air headpieces. They have, and I don't understand exactly how that could possibly help. I'm leery of them all, to be honest with you. But there are occasions where I need to use them, and if I do, I try my best to utilize the ones that are going to be the least invasive for me. The other thing is learning to use your speaker more often instead of the phone against your head. Many of you know I have an aversion to the phone. Like, I'll Zoom with somebody before I will make a phone call to somebody, just because I don't feel good after I'm on a phone for a while. It just doesn't, I don't feel good. My head feels really muddled, and I know that that's not a coincidence. Miss Vicky says, I struggle to get to sleep mainly. Yeah, that seems to be my greatest struggle. I've always been notorious for just laying flat, and as soon as I'm flat, I'm out. I don't take much, but I struggle to fall asleep. So, these are things I want you guys to really consider. Keep your phone away from your bedroom. Try to eliminate as many electronics as possible from your sleep area. Other rooms are fine, but if you can keep your bedroom your safe zone and not have anything electric. The other thing is being really cautious where your bed is placed. If your bed is placed near an electrical outlet, you're going to be catching EMFs off of the electrical outlet, likely by your head. Most people have an outlet by the bed so that they can plug their devices in their alarm clock, if that people are even using those anymore. But if there is an outlet directly behind your bed and you can relocate your bed or just turn that breaker off, that's advised too, because getting the meters, which I believe is also in my resource page. I know I've shared it before, but you can get an EMF meter that you can run through your home to see where the heaviest EMFs are coming from. So you've got EMFs coming out of your outlets, but these devices are absolutely the worst. They recommend for girls and ladies not to put them anywhere near your chest. in your pants pockets. They recommend that the men don't have them in their pants pockets because it is making our children sterile and they are unable to have children. So, and also causing cancer where these phones are being stored. So, I know that this is all kind of like freaky to hear, but it's something to really truly pay attention to. The smart watches are another thing. And I'm going to tell you firsthand, I bought an Aura ring on eBay. They're like a $300 or $400 ring that tracks all your bodily functions. Your heart rate, your steps, your blood pressure, and it gains a lot of information. And here's the other thing. I think that they go a little too far and are gathering more information than they need to know. But that's my tinfoil hat again, but I'm just saying. But the other thing is, I bought that. I bought it for $80 on eBay. And I wanted to try it. I wanted to see, because I am the canary, I wanted to see how bad it affected me. I had it on airplane mode, which means it wasn't even functioning, but it was on my finger, and it felt like somebody was shooting like I had stuck my finger in an outlet. That's what it felt like. These things are producing a lot of debilitating things through our bodies. So please keep that in mind. So Miss Vicky says, ugh, I have a CPAP machine and a heating pad and my phone plugged in on a strip by my bed, probably frying me. It is likely, yes. Those things, they do add up. They do take a toll. So, the heating pad, the CPAP, those are things that you need. Try just moving your phone. And, I want to encourage you guys to research and test things. If you're gardening, you can test the seeds and test to see if old seeds are germinating and do all kinds of experiments in your own space. I want you guys to be experimenting with this stuff and being aware how it's affecting you. We shouldn't have iPads on our laps, laptops on our laps. There are devices you can get and protective things that you can get to put on your lap, to put these devices on your lap. And yes, we can spend the money. I'm very frugal, so it's like I try my best to just do things differently so that I don't have to invest in all these things. And in a lot of ways, sometimes I'm leery on how well these things work. However, they do test them, so you can also test them yourself. So the $80 Aura ring that I bought went back in its package, and I listed it on eBay, and I sold it for $350. So that was a benefit for testing that out. But I don't advise those things. I don't advise those things because they aren't doing us any favors. Miss Vicky says, I quit wearing the watch at night because it literally swelled up my wrist internally. Yes. This knuckle right here, this is my movability finger, right? If I'm on my devices too much, when I'm schooling and I'm using my finger, or I happen to have an eye pencil, I can't use it for long periods of time, and I have arthritis, they say that's what it is, in this knuckle. I use frankincense on it, and I stop using my machine, and it goes away. I don't think it's arthritis. That's what I'm saying. You guys need to be careful. You need to be careful with all of these gadgets and all of these things. Miss Laura says the new smart meters send off horrible EMFs. Yes. I used to get horrible migraines when I worked at my desk. The neighbor's meter was pointing straight at my desk. Yes, exactly. Those smart meters are terrible. I want you guys to do your research. There's a lot of research out there, and actually maybe what I will do is do your research. I will never tell you not to do research. But the one thing I am trying to do also is put the research that I find that is from very good sources in our community so that you guys have access to it. So you can look it up yourself and see. But better than that, do the testing yourself. Play around. Move everything out of your room that's electronic that you can. check if your bed's by a outlet. Move your bed. Do these things and see if you get better sleep. The Mountain Man and I are always evaluating things and always testing things. Living off grid has given us a real understanding and appreciation for what clean living can do for you. That's just super important. Oh, my YouTube might die here, and it's getting close. It's actually, we have 7 minutes. So I'll just end there. I do want to say this for those of you on the community, for those of you on YouTube, join our community, faithledhealing.com/community. For those of you in my community, I want you to be aware that there are going to be some significant changes coming your way. So I'm going to send a newsletter out to explain the changes, and I'm not sure which will happen first. It might be the chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken. So if you go into the community and everything looks really weird, look for a newsletter that also explains things, or maybe you'll see a video tutorial in there explaining the change, why. We've had an opportunity to use the community, and we've gotten our feet wet, and we've been analyzing and researching things, and I am determining through God's nudges that there's some things I need to change to make things even simpler, but also more grand. So there's going to be a lot of things coming your way, a lot of courses, a lot of educational information, and I will be bringing my integrative health practice full circle, going from what you can do modern day to help yourself to what you can go find in your yard to help you do the same thing. It's going to be a process. I'm schooling right now. I've got about 400 hours worth of schooling that I've just took upon myself, and I'm very excited. So I will be sharing all that moving forward. But today I really felt the importance to share that because there is some heavy duty stuff going on. Our world and people in our world are wanting us to stay sick. We are connected with Papa, and the beginning of this was to tell you to keep connected with Papa. Understand that you can ask Papa every morning to put a bubble around you. Protect you, give you wisdom, knowledge, direction, and discernment in all things. Ask him to lead you. Ask him to guide you in what I just shared with you in all things. That connection, we have to remember. He put a cloud above them with light. There's no reason why we can't be walking around with an invisible bubble around us, protecting us as we are trying to get healthy. I truly believe that. You can call me as cuckoo as you want. I don't really care. But, you know, Papa is our source. And we've got to remember to ask him for these things and trust him for these things. You know, I've been in a place that is high electric, high energy, high EMF, high toxin for 4 months, and I have been battling, but I'm upright. I'm not flat on my back. Papa's protecting me. Papa's also showing me and guiding me, and in that showing and guiding, it's my obligation to share that with you guys. So play it safe, and in your bags, how you carry your phone. There are things in my resource page, and if they're not there, I'll make sure they're there later today to protect you, and places that you can store your phone so that they're not affecting you as much. So we have Breathwork in 3 minutes, so I'm just going to say a quick prayer, and we'll probably be a few minutes late. Everybody can use the restroom, and then we'll regroup in the Breathwork session. But Papa, I just thank you for this time. Thank you for speaking with me, through me, and with me, and thank you for leading me in these conversations and the things I need to share. And just, Papa, you are the source. We can protect ourselves from all the garbage in the world. You've made this beautiful planet, and you've put everything in it to keep ourselves healthy and well. And when we are connected to you, and we have that direct source, we will continue to remain healthy and well and better than those not connected. We need that connection with you. And I just pray that everyone here and those watching the replay stay connected to you. Make it a daily practice. Remember that we have control over our minds, our bodies, our actions, and how we spend our time. So, Papa, just guide us. Give us wisdom, knowledge, direction, and discernment. Lead the way. Show us. Protect us. Keep a bubble around each of us. And again, we praise you for what you're doing in Ken's body. We praise you for what you're doing in Vicky's body. We praise you for what you're doing in Laura's body. All of them are finding healing. And also for what you're doing in Deb with all the stress and the different things that she's going through. She's still upright and smiling. Papa, we praise you. We praise you so greatly, and we just thank you, and I ask that you just wrap your loving arms around the community and guide and direct them and provide for them in the same fashion. Thank you for loving us. We ask all of this in your holy and precious name of Jesus. Amen. Okay, my friends. I will see you guys. Oh, Miss Deb says, I get to take care of my Bella pup for 5 days during our Okanagan County Fair this week for my dear friend who has given her a good home on our ranch. I love her so much. Oh, that's so awesome. I didn't realize when you were showing, I thought it was Katie. And I was on a roll, so I wasn't, I see, but I'm not fully paying attention. Oh, that's awesome. Good deal. I'm so happy for you. All right, awesome. Well, everybody, I will see you in Breathwork in a few minutes. I love you all. God bless.